Hey there everyone, Dr. Beth Westy here, and as I sport all of my Minnesota gear, Minnesota Twins, I'm wearing my Viqueen sweatshirt. This is from Fangirl. Love, love, love the gear that they have. If you are Minnesota based, these gals are amazing. Fangirl stuff, you can check them out on Facebook or Instagram. This was not a plug for them to start. I just realized I was wearing their sweatshirt as it's halftime during the Vikings game, and I was like, I'm gonna jump on and do a video about testing hormones because this is a question I get a lot from women. So there are times where I do order out tests for women to get their hormones tested. Oftentimes, by the time somebody finds me or starts to work with me, they've already had hormone testing done. Just because the group of women that I work with, right, they've been down this road before. This is not their first rodeo. So oftentimes they have been to a doctor and gotten a blood test or something. Sometimes then a blood test only shows so much. So I will recommend a different type of test, which I will show you and talk about in a minute. But one of the things that can give you a really clear picture when you're looking at hormone testing is the right path for you. So should you get your hormones tested? A lot of times that can depend. I know that sometimes when you're making a decision with your health or what you want to do next to move forward can depend on a lot of different things. Do you have health insurance? Is it covered? What's your out-of-pocket cost, right? And just because you get a test done, right, then there might be, now I don't know what to do with this information. Or what's even worse, and this is where I work with a lot of women in the 12-week challenge, and I'll put a link below the video where you guys can check that out more and get on the wait list for the next one. But women will get really stuck because they'll get a result and they're like, okay, that didn't really tell me a lot of information. Or, yeah, they say I'm borderline. Like, what does that mean? And they're not going to do anything, or I thought this was going to happen and now it's not, or now I'm not sure what to do, or they want me to do this thing and I'm not down for that. Like, I'm not into doing what they want me to do. What are my other options? So a lot of times that's where I will come in and say, okay, there's a lot of other things we can do. We can look at your system in many different ways and then really find the best path that works for you. So let's talk about different types of testing. So first off, the test that I like to recommend and work with women on, and I love seeing when they get done, is the Dutch test. So this is something, if you have not had this done, if you are looking at getting some type of testing done, this is a test that I can order. It gets sent right to your house and you take it there. It's really, really easy. I want to show you this because sometimes women are really nervous about it. They're like, I don't want to, I don't want to get blood drawn, or I already did this, right? This is a dried urine test. And it's really stable and it gives you a much bigger picture of what's going on in your system. The trouble with a blood draw is that it's just taking a snapshot of what's free flowing in your blood at that moment. It doesn't give you really a complete picture of not just your hormones, but different levels of hormones, as well as how those hormones are being metabolized. I'll show you that in just a minute, but I wanted to show you how easy and quick this test really is. There's a form that comes with it, which is exciting. But here it is, right? This is the collection. Do your collection times. There you go. Right, and this is the basic test that they have. You do your collection, you get the collection strips. Here they are. Okay, I say collection strip, like that sounds nice. You pee on the paper. you just pee on that paper, okay? It's not hard. You're going to the bathroom anyway, just put the paper under there. There you go. Urine is very stable, so you can mail it, right? It stays stable for quite a long time, so your results are going to be very accurate. It gives you all the instructions on doing it, but the thing to look at is look at what it's testing over a period of time. That's the biggest thing there. And it's really, it gives you a really complete look. Now, this is also something where if you are wondering where you're at, am I ovulating? I'm struggling with fertility. I have PCOS. I have endometriosis. I'm in menopause. I'm on HRT. I'm not sure if it's working, right? It gives you the complete picture of exactly what's happening in your body from start to finish. Start to finish means like from your brain all the way through the internal organs that process everything and all the way out. So let me show you a little bit bigger picture about what's happening and what this tests for. So I know some of this stuff might not seem exciting, but I want you to get a really good picture about what the difference is between just getting a blood test, because when you get a blood test, you'll get a number as a result. Here's your number, and it's either within range or out of range for like estrogen, right? Or progesterone. Women who are struggling with fertility, they're like, yeah, I want to know my progesterone stuff, right? Either it's there or it's not. Okay, great. But this gives you the look all the way down, right? So this is just an example, and it tests your cortisol too. So if you're struggling with a lot of things like adrenal fatigue, cortisol levels, all of that stuff where you're like, holy cannoli, I can't handle things. It doesn't just tell you what those levels are. It also tells you how your body's metabolizing, how it's processing those hormones. That's the biggest thing here. So it's not just about what's there or what's not. Is your body producing it? Because all these hormones, they get converted. This is gonna not look exciting, but I just want to show you and this is all the stuff that I used to study in school. So when I see these things, I'm like, oh my God, look at that. Oh. Pathways, endocrine pathways, yay. Doesn't this make you excited? Oh my God, right? Like, look at this. Everything starts from cholesterols. Did you know that? Hormones start from cholesterols, and then here's the steroid pathways. I think cholesterol is the steroid, right? Oh, okay. All the pathways and how things are metabolized through, right? So this is a really big picture. If you ever want to nerd out on this and just dive right in and be like, oh my God, I need help. Where is this going wrong for me? This can give you a really big picture, right? Because what if your progesterone, I just used this as an example and it's right here, so I'm going to use it again. If your progesterone is low and you're struggling with fertility or something like that, right? Right there. I want to make sure it can focus on it a little bit. You know, what's the metabolism pathway that it's struggling with exactly? Oh, I have a cut on my finger that I didn't notice until I saw it in the video there. Okay. And where is that going? Where is the pathway breakdown happening? The good thing about this is that if you really are struggling with something and you're like, I have done X, Y, and Z. I have really tried to do this, that, and the other. Where's the problem? Once you find out exactly where the problem is, because the problem, the symptoms and the effect that you're feeling, it can come from so many different things here. So when you are like, I'm done trying to guess, I want to know exactly what it is, and I want to figure out exactly what I need to do to target it, this is the test that you do. This right here, the Dutch test. And it gives you this whole pathway. It gives you your whole pathway of exactly what's happening in your body all of the times. So you know what to target, what to do. With this type of information, right? And it gives you all the neurotransmitters and stuff too. So with this type of information, what do I do with this, right? So for example, say I'm working with somebody, and a lot of times when I work with women in a one-on-one setting, and they have a lot of issues, and they're like, I don't want to, waste a lot of time. I've done this, that, and the other. I've been on this. I've tried that. I did this birth control. I had a bad side effect. I got off of it, and then I gained a ton of weight, and now I can't get off right. I'm having all these issues all over the place. Where do I start? What do I do? We start right away with the Dutch test a lot of the time. And this comes with, okay, is this something that's needed for you? Sometimes women are like, I don't want to, spend a lot of money. So sometimes cost is a factor, which is what I talked about, right? It can be, like sometimes if you're going to go get a blood test and your insurance pays for it, you're like, oh, my $10 copay, NBD, no big deal. Great. But if you're going to get a Dutch test that's several $100s, sometimes it's like, oh, shoot, I'm not sure I want to start with that, right? So it just depends. But most of the women that I work with in a higher level, in a one-on-one setting, I will, have them, if they don't have the Dutch test done already, I will get it sent to them. So again, in the comments below, I'll put a link. You can check out my waitlist. You can send me a message. Don't hesitate to reach out to me saying, hey, I want more info on what you're talking about. I want to know more about testing my hormones, XYZ, etc., right? But when to test your hormones, what to do, that's something I can help you with because, again, sometimes cost is a factor. But if you get the right test for your hormones, you figure out exactly where your hormone levels are, where they're also being metabolized. Sorry, this is really sloppy. And then it can also give you a better picture of, and this is the most important, of the next steps for you. So for example, I have worked with women that have had, let's say, a really stressful time. Now, the source of it is also something that we have to uncover because it can be from being exposed to toxins, mold, extreme stress. Yeah, a lot of different things that can really affect how your body is reacting and responding, right? So, or what was the cause of it? What was the onset of it? Because then we're going to take your hormone levels and see, okay, here's where the problem is. We've identified where the problem is. Let's get rid of the source of it. Let's do a hormone detox. Let's really clean up things in your system. Let's reset everything. Maybe you had a really traumatic event. Let's just take an example of somebody that I worked with. She was like, I was good, life was great. Yeah, I had maybe some, cycle issues. It was a little irregular, but no big deal. It wasn't awful. And then I had a horrible experience at work. She had this boss that was, she got a new boss and it was really, really stressful. Like pulling her hair out, stressful. Like she couldn't sleep at night. It was so stressful. And then she had a house fire. And her entire world was turned upside down. And she said the stress of home and work was just too much for her system. Her adrenals crashed, her body just shut down, and then she started having a ton of cycle issues. Really bad PMS, really long periods, and gained weight and could not take it off. And she's like, this was 4 years ago. What? I've tried birth control, right? And now she has taken all these medications in the meantime that will have an effect on your hormones and how your system regulates. So in terms of getting started, because she had already been through so much and where we were starting with and how I was working with her, I said, listen, let's get you a test first. And then I'm going to know exactly what to target and when for your system. Because not only do I want to help clean up the hormone things, right? What's next for you? The big key here is that you don't just want to do, okay, let's do things to try and make these numbers look right. You want to do two things. You want to, I don't want to say fix the problem, but that's essentially what you're doing. You want to find the source. Was it that stress issue? Let's regulate your stress hormones. Let's really boost your adrenals. Let's really work on clearing out that excess stress from your body. I just saw a video on Facebook today that I did 3 years ago where I was really excited about talking about fat soluble versus water soluble hormones. And that's one of the things, all of these hormone levels that we're talking about here, testosterone, progesterone, cortisol, fat soluble hormones, meaning they attach to the inside of your fat cells. So you have to target that. So that's something that I work with women on in the 12-week challenge and on a one-on-one basis. I will help you figure out how to release that, right? But first you got to find the source of it. What is it? Let's work with that source because we don't want it to keep coming back, right? We don't want it to keep coming back if for some reason it could be a recurring thing. Let's identify it, right? And then let's really find the right plan, right? So a lot of times it is finding the right supplements, finding the right blend for you. Many women are taking supplements, and I don't want to say they're bad supplements. They're just not right for your system. They're not right for what your body needs. So we find the right plan: nutrition, exercise. Another thing with fat-soluble vitamins fat-soluble hormones when they get stuck on the inside of your fat cells, and meaning like you can't drink enough water and sweat enough to get them out of your body. That's not how they work. This isn't about going to the gym and sweating it out. This is about really working with your body physiologically in a completely different way to get your system to release all that excess hormone. Otherwise, it's going to stay around. If you're constipated, if you have gut issues, it's not going to get released. That means you need to have the right plan to get rid of it. So this sounds like when I write this down, I'm like, oh, this looks really simplistic. But it comes from a really complex place of saying, okay, you have been through so much. Your body has been through so much. And you know that this isn't your normal. This is not your normal you. You know that your body can produce better, can do better, can function better, so you feel better. But you've done some things, you've already gotten a blood test and you're like, oh, it's not showing me enough, or I don't feel like it's the right thing. That's where this Dutch test comes in. So again, if you want more info, you can go to Dutch Test, Google their stuff. They've got great resources out there for people, right? They show you, they can send you stuff, or you can see stuff where it shows exactly how complete getting a Dutch test is compared to getting a blood test, right? Like that's getting a blood test, this is getting a Dutch test. Come on, right? Yeah. But that's one of the reasons why I use it. And my goal here is to give you guys enough information to really be your own advocate and to find the right things for you that's going to help you move forward in your own health. And again, I'm a resource for you. So if you have questions, if you need any help with anything, let me know. Other resources I have for you, I have my podcast, The Female Health Solution, YouTube channel, Dr. Beth Westie, book, The Female Fat Solution. This is all about eating for your nutrition, or eating for your hormones, using your whole food nutrition to match with your hormonal cycle. That oftentimes is part of the right plan for you. When I work with women one-on-one, a lot of the info, and this is on Amazon. And then the Female Menopause Solution, I talk about specific things for women in menopause in this book. And then this is a journal that I really, so game changer for women who, when I work with them one-on-one, you get to track these things and you get to feel and see the changes in your body and in your system as we go along, working the right plan for your body and your system. Okay, let's see. There's some comments. Ooh, Dutch test. Yes, let me write that down. So it's all capitals. D-U-T-C-H. Yeah, Dutch test. Yep. Yes. Missy's asking, you recently heard you should get your hormones tested once a year. That is a great question. How often should you test your hormones? I got them tested last year, blah, 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 blah. So the 12-week challenge that I run is 12 weeks, literally because that's how long a hormone cycle is in women. Yeah, that's how long it takes, 12 weeks. For a real big shift and change to make that impact. Could you see results a little sooner? Sure. But really for that full thing, it's 12 weeks. So thyroid hormone, for example, I have a history of thyroid issues. I used to have thyroid issues, and when they were testing me, they would give me a medication. They were having me on medication, and I would go back in 3 months later and get it tested. That's when they tested it, 3 months, every 3 months, until they got the dosage right? Thank goodness I'm not there anymore. But so in terms of, it depends on, should you get your hormones tested once a year, right? When they have the dosage right on stuff, if you're on a medication, they will tell you, oh, you only need to go in and get tested once a year. But if there's something wrong, your hormones can shift every 12 weeks. Yeah. And again, if you're getting a blood test, it's only showing you what's in the bloodstream, not giving you this big complete picture of what's happening. Let me show you this. Again, upstream. Where is it being metabolized? There could be issues all the way down from the brain and from the other organs. So to just do it once a year and have that be a blanket statement, I would have to disagree with that without knowing more information specifically. But Missy, send me a message, Missy, and we can chat about that. Okay. Tracy is saying you wish you would have known about the test having a hysterectomy Tuesday. Oh, Tracy, that is a bummer. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, there's so many things that women have to go through where we don't know. This is part of the mission. I'm going to go on a little rant here for just a minute about this is what I'm talking about. So many women let little things slide for such a long period of time because you're thinking, I'm fine. My arm didn't fall off. I can keep going with my day. This is okay. Oh, I'm having these really bad, abdominal pains. Maybe I'm gassy. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. And maybe the one time that you go in because of this pain, and they do a blood test and they're like, oh, you're fine, your hormones aren't that bad, and you're like, okay, and you feel a little sheepish, right? And you're like, I don't know, maybe it's fine. And then, 5 years later, that little tiny thing has, become a big problem, right? We are just not educated enough about our bodies to realize, oh, this is a big problem. Go in sooner. Yes. Figure out what you need to do sooner. Figure out what you need to do for your body, and really target the right things. Find the right information. What do you need for you specifically? Yes. Sarah is asking, what can you do for thyroid without using medication? Sarah, such a good question. Yes. I read a lot. I have a lot of resources. And what I work with women on is really, using different Eastern medicine and Ayurvedic techniques to get your thyroid levels, to help your thyroid out, right? So it doesn't work for everybody, but you can also help your thyroid function better, even if you are on something for it. But a lot of times when you're saying, oh, I don't feel good, and you find out, oh, look, I have a thyroid issue, all you're given is just, here's your thyroid medication, go on with your life. Yet you still feel like, I still feel like I have a lot of stuff going wrong with me, right? Yes, that's a whole nother video. That's a whole other video. But if you have questions on that specifically, message me. We can chat about that. But that's also other things that, right, and I'm talking about mainly here, and what I showed you here was mainly the pathways here for the these hormones, the sex hormones, right? Progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, right? Cortisol, but also thyroid. Those are all fat-soluble hormones. All fat-soluble. So, keep that in mind. Very, very important to just know where you're at and the right steps for you. So, I'll put a link below the video. You can get on my next, the wait list for the next 12-week challenge that I have. But of course, I'm here as a resource. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me personally. Again, send me a message. Send me a message on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Or an email even, whatever it is. And then I have all these resources, books and podcasts and things out for you just to give you more information. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I'm sure the Vikings game has started again, so I'm going to get back in my cheering position for that. All right, I'll see you guys later.